weeks ago we ordered this cubic mini stove because in the Pacific Northwest here, we're coming into the fall and it's really bloody wet. Last year we were having some issues with moisture in our trailer over winter, so this year we've decided to go with a different heat source rather than using electric, and we got the stove. In addition to the heat, it also produces a much drier heat, so we're hoping that it should help battle some of the ongoing moisture inside the Airstream throughout this winter, as well as just creating a really nice cozy environment in here. First step though, we're building a shelf here for the stove to sit on, and we're also going to have to build a backsplash that's going to be behind the stove here, which we will tile to radiate the heat, as well as punch a hole through the ceiling for the flue to go up through. That's what we're doing today. What's my mantra today is that perfection is an illusion. And that's going to be a really important thing to keep in mind when I'm tiling. I've only ever tiled once before, and that was, I think I would have been 20, and I helped a friend in Australia build a bathroom. Not gonna lie, it was pretty terrible. So I'm hoping that this job comes out a lot better. It's the fall and it is really humid in here, and the windows are just dripping with condensation. So this is where we're at. We've got the enclosure, it's built here. It's made out of 3/4 inch plywood. We have a cement backing board glued and screwed in place on all sides, to which we're going to adhere our tile. We have this mosaic style black marble tile that we just picked up from Home Depot. It's only a small area, so we thought we'd go with something a little bit classy for our space, because we're such classy people, and it's going to look absolutely fantastic with the black stove, the brass highlights, and the rest of our black appliances. I think it'll just scream beauty. The process for laying the tile here, we're going to set the base of the enclosure in first. We just skim it with adhesive, trowel out our lines, and then set our tile. Following that, we're going to do the left and the right hand sides of the enclosure, and then finally the back, and hopefully that will hide all the rough cut seams where I cut the tile, and we'll be left with a nice finish.
But now you're gone and all I have is all...
I think that's skimmed okay. Now we have to put our adhesive on with our notched side of the trowel to give the tile something to bond into. Not really sure the best way to do this, so we are gonna work it out as we go.
Wearing your good pants.
All my pants are work pants now.
Well, that went pretty smooth.
Yeah, that wasn't too bad. It's all set in now, so that's good. I think it's okay in terms of alignment. By the time we grout it with black grout, you're not going to really notice the transitions between each tile as much. There's not much contrast, so I think it should hide most of the blemishes. As everybody has probably worked out by this point, I'm a little bit of a grotty builder and tend to make a mess with most things.
He just ditched his nice pants for these old swim trunks.
Costume change. All right, round 2, here we go. How's that look?
It's gonna look so snazzy. Very nice. I love it. That's gonna look amazing.
Yeah, it's looking pretty snazzy. It's gonna look very sharp. But as with every project we've ever done, we didn't buy enough stuff and we're gonna have to go back to the hardware store. More adhesive and we will finish this job in another day. Now, we just finished up the wooden trim and now we're ready to toss some grout in around the tile. We're using a charcoal, dark grey, blackish grout so that there won't be a whole lot of contrast with the marble first time grouting. The video I watched said you had to like wipe the tile down like 5 times. Kind of like black glitter.
Now that you got me started, I just can't stop. No, no. 'Cause I love you, baby. I can't let you go, baby. I gotta tell you that I won't.
I now understand why all tilers I know have like massive forearms. It's like really a lot of work to get it down into all the grout lines. Gee, wrist strength. Once the grout is in between the tile, you take a wet sponge and you just clean it all up and leave the grout in between the tiles and take off the grout that's on top of the tiles. In this application, the grout really is just decorative. I'm really happy with the way that the grouting came out. For a first time doing it, I think it came out looking really nice. The black marble with the charcoal grout, I'm really happy with the way that the walnut trim kind of flows from the rest of the counter downwards. It really just complements the space and feels really natural and like it was always meant to be here. So I'm really happy with the way it turned out. I'm very impressed. It wasn't as hard as I thought. It definitely seemed more intimidating than it really should be. There's lots of different terms and stuff you never heard of, but it's really no different to doing any other project. It's pretty straightforward. Today is wood stove installation day. This is our router, and we're going to cut a hole through the ceiling of the Airstream. I am making a cardboard trace of the ceiling and a template so that we can find a center hole for our flue and then mark out our radius that we need to cut to put the flue through the ceiling. It's a similar thing to when we scribe the walls to find the curve.
Scribing.
Yeah, we've been here before.
Your favorite.
My favorite activity. So the template fits to the radius here. We're just gonna mark out the width of our hole, and then we can transcribe our top mark and our bottom mark, and then work out our width the other direction and trace out our shape. So this is our template for the diameter of the hole that we need to put through the roof. So now all we need to do is find the center line of the stove. We can line it up with our center line here, and then we can mark our hole width. 7-inch hole, but because of the radius of the ceiling, the physical hole that we actually cut is going to be closer to 7 7/8, right? Because it's a 7-inch wide hole, but because of the slope, it needs to be slightly larger than the actual diameter of the hole. But the math of how to calculate that has escaped me, so I made this template that we can just line up with the center line and then mark the width.
Clever.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty snazzy way to work out this problem. Check it out. Now, our template is 3-dimensional.
This is pretty nifty.
So now we can mark out our top and bottom and our sides of our hole, and then we just need to work out the curve. Whereabouts we want it. You can see I marked the center point here on the...
I think it's too far out. James and I have been back and forth about the orientation of this wood stove. We really love it being kind of on an angle to the seating area so that you can enjoy the coziness of the fire no matter where you're sitting, but it just doesn't work with the flue. So where the flue is going to punch through the ceiling. A couple of challenges, I guess, with this setup.
Yeah, with the stove in this orientation, the hole we would have to cut for the flue is so far back towards the windowsill that the pipe would almost be touching this. So that's far too close. So I think in order to get the hole in a better spot, we're gonna turn the stove like this. And in that position, it's much better clearance for the flue going through the roof of the Airstream.
We also thought about doing it
Yeah, we could
centered,
put it this way.
which looks so nice when you're coming in through the door.
But again, you also run into the issue because the flue is offset at the back of the stove. The flue ends up being, again, pretty close to the window because it's now set too far back this way.
So it would have to be very far forward, and then we lose all of that beautiful tile space.
Yeah.
Looks a bit odd.
Looks a little bit odd being all the way out there on its own. So.
Plus it makes the best seat in the house the doorway, which is not where we spend the majority of our time. We are usually over here.
I think this orientation wins, being the least compromise on what we're wanting here.
You can sit back over there, stare at the fire.
And the flue will exit nicely away from the wall a little bit more.
Also, you can sit on the bench there and stoke it and have room in front to do the
Fire things.
Fire things. You could lay your boots up there to dry. It just definitely makes more use of the space. Decision made on my end. What about you? What's your vote?
I think it's the best of all the positions. It makes the best use of the space, I reckon. The next steps, we need to measure the stove properly and make sure that it is properly centered and exactly where we want it. And then we need to mark the holes where we're going to drill through the tile so that we can anchor the stove down to the base. And then we can run our center line, mark the center of the hole, and then we can mark out the rest of our hole and prepare to cut through the Airstream.
Pretty well centered. All right, let's mark it.
All right. Here we are.
We're about to punch our hole through the roof, and I'm feeling kind of nervous.
It's always nerve-wracking cutting a hole in the roof of your trailer in fall when it's raining all the time.
The only day that wasn't raining.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be a river in the sky tomorrow, so we need to get this done.
Let's do it. Let's just get it done with. It'll be better once we're on the other side of it and we have a toasty warm fire to sit around and toast to the fact that we didn't screw it up. Let's go for it. Please be nothing behind here.
My heart sings, it's what I've got. You couldn't put a price on that.
I don't feel anything in the way of where our hole will be, so I say we keep just slowly working our way bigger and bigger. That looks like it'll go through.
Some people try to get by.
Sweet. I think we aced it. It clears the awning and everything on the inside. We don't even need to shave anything back. And from the eyeball, it looks like it's straight up, so.
Whoa, it looks so good.
Oh.
Snazzy.
No way.
Yeah, I think that looks pretty straight.
So that's where it should be, and we just cleared everything on the inside and on the outside. I think that's stellar, but I think we might need to just take a little bit more off the top of the curve, just to gap it out from the chimney just a little bit, and then we'll tack it into place. Screw this all together, drill our holes through the base, anchor it down, set the flue, and put this piece of rubber on it that apparently is meant to waterproof it.
Nice.
Yeah, all our bolt holes line up with the holes in the base, so awesome. Let's piece together the flue and secure it, weather seal it, and then light a fire.
Caught behind Venetian blinds, how to reach for the city lights. This ain't where I belong. Hey, look at me, man, what I've become.
First fire. Pretty sweet, isn't it?
It's so cute and cozy.
Shall we celebrate?
With a homemade beer?
Have a beer by the fire.
Oh, thanks for chopping wood.
Yeah, I just cut a couple of offcuts from the scrap pile. You really feel the heat starting to come off it.
I'll have to get one of those little fans.
There you are. Cheers.
Cheers.
We successfully, finally got the stove in. It's going to keep us much warmer this winter.
Don't look before you leave. What you give, you get to keep. So long, farewell, bye-bye. Let's have a toast for those lost old lives.